Hey guys, so today's video is going to be another video sponsored by my good friends over at BK Beauty. Today we are talking all things hooded eyes, mature eyes, droopy eyes, tired looking eyes, you name it. I'm going to go through all my tips and tricks in today's video. I've done videos like this before where we focused on eye techniques, but I have a new one, a new thing that I've done in the past few months or so, especially because it's super quick and I have a baby to take care of. So the faster the better, but today's video, like I said, will be focusing on tips and tricks on how to open those peepers right up, which felt like a great opportunity to work with my good friends at BK Beauty again because their brushes, in particular their eye brushes, are extremely useful, helpful, and easy to use in order to achieve the look we're going for today, which is bright-eyed and bushy-tailed. So BK Beauty is having a sale from July 3rd to July 8th here on the YouTube shop. Make sure you use code YT20 for 20% off as well. BK Beauty is run by Lisa J here on YouTube. My favorite brushes they have happen to be the collabs they ran with Nikki La Rose here on YouTube, as well as Angie Hot and Flashy here on YouTube. Today I am featuring a lot of their brushes, all of which are just so expertly crafted. They are all vegan, 100% cruelty free. All of these brushes are incredibly soft, incredibly well created and thought through. And Nikki's brushes and Angie's brushes in particular, I feel like are such a good place to start with this brand. Because Nikki and Angie are so experienced in the beauty world, I mean, hello, Angie has like 1 billion followers, so she's been out here grinding in these beauty streets and finding the best of the best for you guys. Nikki La Rose is a professional makeup artist whose style is stunning. They put all that expertise into these brush lines, and it's so evident when you test them out for yourself. So what I want you guys to do, sit down, grab a snack, let's do our makeup together. Like I said, we're gonna be talking tricks, tips, techniques, products, everything you need to get the beautiful wide-eyed, bright-eyed effect you're looking for. And like I said, BK Beauty definitely is going to help us do it. Thank you so much, BK Beauty, for sponsoring today's video. I really hope you guys check out the sale, and I would love to know in the comment section what you're planning on picking up. All right, guys, all that being said, let's just get right into the video. All right, guys, before we get started on the actual makeup look, let's talk a little bit about prep because it's very important. If you have hooded eyes, monolids, deep set eyes, mature eyes, any of these things, you might find that you just can't get away with being puffy around the eye area. I personally cannot. If I cry or if I have too much sodium, I will have puffy eyes the next day. And it's one of those things that it's really hard to deal with once the puffiness has started. Whether I'm filming a YouTube video, doing makeup, anything, I always ice roll. I use a jade eye mask. This is one of the best things I think you could get for this because it's super simple. You don't even have to be sitting up to use it. You just lay it on your face and it will drastically depuff your eyes pretty quickly. But on top of something like ice, which is going to help with tightening the skin, you want to make sure you're focusing on things like lymphatic drainage, facial massage, whatever. You don't need special tools to do it. You can use your hands, your fingers. There's tons of videos on YouTube that can teach you how to do this. I personally love the Nurse Jamie roller. I've had this thing for like 6 or 7 years. It's still going strong. It does something similar, not identical, but similar to gua sha, in that it's really a feather-like kind of rolling motion that is easily able to help push the fluid through your lymph system and away from your eyes. Again, if we're trying to make our eyes look more awake, more open, then you're going to have to combat the puffiness. Other things that are extremely helpful can be things like eye patches. I do like an eye patch. It's not something I swear by in terms of changing my skin and being crucial in my makeup routine. What I will tell you they are affected at is the appearance of puffiness. So they only work when you use them. Not everybody has time every day, but they are a nifty little tool in your toolbox. Again, combined with ice rolling or any type of ice modality, lymphatic drainage and facial massage, and then little things like this can be extremely helpful. I also recommend eye creams. It's not something I was super pressed about for a long time, but now that I mean, if you look back at my videos, I'm always telling you guys in my eyeshadow videos how to deal with hooded eyes, how to open your eyes up, how to make them look bigger and brighter, because it's something I've always struggled with. It's on a different level now because I'm getting older and all of the things about my eyes that were once struggles have become exacerbated. So eye creams are something I'm much more obsessed with and excited about. Right now, when I do my makeup, I really like the vitamin enriched eye base from Bobbi Brown. It's not the best thing I've ever used in my life, but what I do find that it does really well is super hydrates the area. But also caffeinated eye creams, if you can ever find that. Like I know The Ordinary used to make a caffeinated eye serum. Works really well, applies really well under makeup. There's a lot of things you can do before you start the makeup process that's actually gonna make this easier. Like I said, if we got hooded, puffy, mature eyes, it's very difficult to get all of the effect we're looking to get with just makeup. Think about prep, and you don't gotta get ready if you stay ready. So find a way to make ice rolling and lymphatic drainage a regular part of your daily routine. So when you sit down to do your makeup on any given day, you're not swimming upstream trying to, get the open-eyed effect you're looking for. You can tell that I have all my makeup on except for my lips and my eyes. This is something I've recently started doing because I've had to start doing my makeup much faster than I used to. I have a 1-year-old baby and he is not gonna sit around and wait for me to perfect my makeup within an inch of its life. So I've had to learn how to do things much more quickly. And what I have learned is that doing your eyes last when you're trying to really create a shape with your eyeshadow is the secret. Like, you know how everyone is saying that eyeshadow is out? That can never be the case for me, and most likely for people like me, because eyeshadow is not just, look at the pretty colors and all the sparkles. It's literally giving shape to our eyes. We're kind of contouring and highlighting the entire eye area in order to change what we have to work with. One of the things that really will emphasize your eye shape and open it up beautifully is if, and this is so crucial, you can get the lower lash line to meet up with the outer corner in a flattering way. That is going to hug the shape of your eye and you can really focus on that lifting. I find when you do your eyeshadow first, it's a little harder to get the more flattering shape altogether. So if we start down here, all we have to do is follow the natural lash line at that point. So that's what we're gonna do today. I've taught similar techniques before, but I'm telling you, this is the final boss. This is the way you do it. This is actually probably gonna be helpful for anyone who wants to learn how to do eyeshadow, but if you already have big, beautiful, bright eyes who can get away with no eyeshadow, like girl, what you doing here? I mean, you probably can still use this technique. It's just gonna do something maybe you're not looking for, which like I said is opening. So the first thing I want you to do is I want you to prime your lower lash line. This is the Urban Decay Primer Potion, super old school. This is really more at your discretion, I guess, than I should say it's mandatory. But for me personally, if I do not re-prime my lower lash line, I've said it in so many videos, it will disappear. This particular eye primer is a really good option for this because it's clear and it's not heavy. Like if you use something similar to a MAC Painterly paint pot, which I used for many years, you might find that it's a little heavy, thick. It just looks like an extra layer of product. It does make your makeup last longer, there's no denying that, but it could make the under eye area look a little bit more heavy than what you're looking for. So to blend that primer out that I just applied, I'm taking the BK Beauty and Nikki LaRose N16 brush. I like this one for that because it has these tiny little fibers that stick up right here that make it really easy to get super close to that lash line and blending it out very softly. So before we get started, let's talk quickly about what brushes I recommend having to do not just this look, but pretty much any eye look. These are just the ones that I think hooded eyes in particular, doing this type of technique, will totally enjoy. This is the BK Beauty Nikki LaRose N12. This is the best lower lash line brush I've ever used. There is something about the density, the shape, the smallness of it that picks up your powder products and just plops them right back down, meaning full pigment, not a lot of building of color, but it also blends really well. So it applies the color to the area and softens and blends it really well without diminishing the impact of the color that you're laying down. Because that's like one of the most annoying things about doing eyeshadow is like adding and blending and adding and blending, especially in your lower lash line where you don't want to be doing a lot of tugging and rubbing. That's what this one is great for. We want at least 2 crease brushes, but if you're me, you want 3. This is the BK Beauty and Angie Hot and Flashy A503. It's the fluffiest brush I'm going to be using in this look, so that means it's getting the lightest colors I use in this look. You also want to grab for this color when you need to go back in and blend everything together. You also want to grab this brush whenever you need to go back in and blend everything together and soften it up. After our biggest one, we want to go in with a little bit smaller, a little bit more tapered, a little bit more precise, which gives us a little bit more control. That's the Nikki LaRose and BK Beauty N13 brush for me. I think in terms of hooded eye girly eyeshadow, eye brush necessities, this is it for you. I've said it in every video I've ever featured this brush in, which I think is every video. It fits so well wherever you need it to go. And that's the challenge with hooded eyes. We don't have like a beautiful bossy crease to kind of work around. We have to carve all that stuff out ourselves and make it work. And precision is kind of the name of the game there, which is why this brush is so great. Like, I don't know if you can tell how it's actually going in on its own into my orbital bone area, which is essentially where my crease would be if I had one. But because it fits so snug everywhere and it's stiff and dense yet blends, it just does all the work for you. That's the thing with brushes. You're always wanting to pay attention to the tips of them, and you want to pay attention to how they move or react when you apply pressure. I'm pressing down on this and it's not really giving much, which means it's going to apply very precisely. This one is fluffier, and it's also pretty dense and stiff when I apply pressure. Same thing, it just means I'm gonna have a lot more control. Now, the last 2 brushes I wanna talk about that I think are super helpful when doing eyeshadow is something like this. This is the BK Beauty Angie Hot and Flashy A504. It's essentially like a tiny pencil brush, like a tiny itty bitty blender brush. So if you think about what we're trying to get out of this one, which is that precision, that exact application, you're essentially gonna get the same thing from this, but even more so on the precise side. And when we're trying to connect the lower lash to the outer corner, that's where this brush really shines. It fits so well right here and connects so perfectly. It's just gonna do the work for you. That's the main benefit to all the brushes that we're using today. Is outside of technique and color combinations and tools are so important because they make all the other elements of your makeup routine easier to do. It makes it all come together much more simply. The last thing we want is a flat shader brush. This just depends on your own personal taste. I personally love glitter and shimmer on the lid, so if you too enjoy that, you're gonna want a flat shading packing brush, which is in this case the BK Beauty Angie Hot and Flashy A505 brush. I think this is one of the best in the game for this. Again, let's look at the tip of the brush. It's very, very flat, but it's pointed right here at the top. It's not square, it's not round, it's not rectangled. It comes to a very clear point, and that just means you can fit it really easily, like especially on me with these like tiny little inner corners. If I want to pack color in right here, it's going to apply so simply. This also grips on to whatever pigment, shadow, whatever. It's gonna hold on to it really well and then release it full impact. So those essentially the type of brushes that we want. We definitely want a big blender, a smaller blender, maybe a pencil brush. It depends on how kind of persnickety you are. I recommend one personally, and we definitely want a flat shader. For shadow today, I'm using my Makeup by Mario Neutrals palette. Obviously, I'm constantly using these Makeup by Mario all matte palettes. I have to say, for 2024 or any year in makeup, these are just, you will use them all the time. You will literally use them all the time. But if I decide and I'm feeling froggy and I want to throw something else in there, something shimmery, sparkly, a little luxe, I'm going to go in with the Tom Ford Nude Dip. Okay, so every other eyeshadow video you guys have seen me do where I'm trying to break down tips and techniques, you've seen me start here in the outer corner with my biggest brush and my lightest color. We're going to flip that and we're going to go on the lower lash line first with our smudgy brush. And that again is the N12. When I was just breaking down all the eyeshadow brushes that you needed, I forgot to mention this one. This might be the more important one. You just need something to start this lower lash line work, and you can't really do that with something like this. It's just not possible. You can use a bronzer for this step if you prefer to, but I'm just going to use my eyeshadow palette. I'm going to go in with my favorite transition shade from the palette. And a transition shade just refers to the color that's going to create a transition between your skin, so it's like your brow bone color, into your eye shade. Your eye shade, your eyeshadow look. That's what your transition color is, and that's what we want to start with. Again, a bronzer is fine. I'm going in with my BK Beauty Nahila Rose N12 brush, and all I'm going to do, I'm going to hold my mirror above my head so I can look up into it. I used to do a lot of downward work, I guess. I want to hold the mirror. This is really hard to do on camera, you guys, because if I put this in front of me, I'm going to go out of focus. So I'm going to do my best. But you want the mirror kind of above you, and you want to look up into it, put your head down, and start applying your shadow. Back and forth motions, side to side. Don't worry if this is not super impactful right away. We have other steps to go in. Now, a hot tip for you, depending on what shape you want to create, like, I don't really know why you'd want to do this if you have hooded eyes, but maybe you do. If you want your eyes to look a little bit more elongated, which for me makes them look much smaller, you want to kind of focus most of this on the outer corner. If you want to open them, like truly open them up, maybe make them look a little bit more round, which if you look at my eyes, I have enough width. In other words, it's pinched a little bit. So even if I open them up, they never look completely round. They just look a little bit more open in the center and pinched on each side, if that makes any sense. So what you want to do, if you're going for that, is you want to focus it here underneath your iris. Like you definitely want to bring it down a little bit right here in order to get that effect. What you also want to start doing is you want to take your brush with your shadow, looking up into the mirror, and we want to start, if you look where my brush is, okay? Can you see? It's connecting, it's literally touching this lower lash line that I've already created, and I'm just gonna follow it up. Don't worry about how silly it looks right now. So if you look at me, there's already a line, and we're already getting this party started now. Okay, here's one more thing we're gonna do before we get too far into this, which is weirdly helpful. This is my eyelash curler. This is actually the Shiseido eyelash curler. I recently ordered this, and it might be my favorite eyelash curler for hooded eyes. Something about this shape, it looks smaller than other eyelash curlers. It even feels lighter, but it really will grab those lashes and get them curled. Here's the thing, when it comes to opening our eyes, we want to focus on outer corner, lower lash line, and lashes. Lashes, especially if you have deep set eyes, really open your eye up. Here's the thing. Once you get this party started and you've done eyeshadow, liner, you're getting ready to do mascara and lashes, for me at least, it can be hard to see my real lashes anymore, to know that I've gotten a good curl, and that good curl, whether you're using fake lashes or not, is going to help. Now, if you are using fake lashes, sitting fake lashes on top of really well curled lashes is going to help them sit more straight up instead of going out, which can very easily happen, and that tends to, again, close us off and give us a squintier look. So I'm going to go ahead and curl my lashes. The longer you can hold this, the better. I would say at least a minute if you need it to last all day, but again, we're just doing this to get ahead of the work we have to do later. I do my makeup in the weirdest order. We have so many weird things I do because I know later on it's gonna matter, and this is one of those things. We're about to do another one of those things in a second as well. So if you're anything like me, it's not that I don't have lashes or brows, I actually do. They just go straight down. It's like my hair. It goes straight down. It's got no lift, no body-yaddy, nothing. It's just limp and straight. So if you wanna kind of get ahead of that, put your lashes in the curler and lift the whole thing up. This is very unattractive to look at, I'm aware. So this next thing I'm gonna do is weird if you don't have this exact issue that I have, but you might. When I look straight on at you now that my lashes are curled, you can see the underside of my upper waterline. And there's nothing necessarily wrong with it, but it can make your eye makeup look really disjointed if you have brown or black or blue or whatever you're working with, and then like flesh. So if you have that issue, tightline your eyes, but also do it now. Because when you get all this eyeshadow and stuff on your lid, your lashes, your mascara, whatever, if you try to do it later, you're gonna have to touch your eyeshadow. It'll probably move. It's just easier to get it out of the way early. It's something I've been testing and doing pretty frequently for the past 4 or 5 months. The only downside is sometimes this will transfer to your waterline, but there's a trick for that too. I'm taking the Christian Audette eyeliner. This is very serious eyeliner. Like, you're gonna have to take a couple passes of your makeup remover to get it off later, but the good news is it does not budge. So I'm gonna flip this up. I know this is super attractive. It's really hard to do on camera, y'all. Sorry. All right, next thing we're gonna do is go back in with the same color that we applied underneath our lash line and our biggest brush, which is the A503 from BK Beauty and Angie Hot and Flashy. You see this line we have? Now we're just gonna kind of start working this shadow next to that line. Like filling it in almost. It's okay if it doesn't blend out perfectly and you can kind of still see the harshness of this line right here. You see what I mean? You can see it it's darker, it's more precisely applied. It really doesn't matter. All we want to do is just start this crease work and make sure that this lower lash line is connecting to where our transition color is going to be laid down on our eye. For this, I am looking down in my mirror. So when I'm doing my lash line, I'm up. And when I'm doing my lid, I'm looking down. This is one of those eye techniques you just gonna have to trust the process because it looks a little janky until it looks right. But again, just focus on this outer corner lined up with where we put our first little bit, and then you can start sweeping it up. So it's kind of going like this. It's like a greater than sign, yeah. Because it goes like, I'm gonna go in with our original smudgy brush that we used on our lower lash line, and we're gonna take a darker color. It doesn't matter what, but just to make things easier, I'm gonna use this one. And this part's optional. You can totally stop here. Like if you feel like that's all you're looking for, it's just a little dimension, a little opening, you can stop here. I'm not going to because I never know when to quit. So all we're gonna do is take the same brush, look up into our mirror again, and I'm gonna focus most of this on the outer corner, again, where that iris is. I'm gonna start it there and flip it out, and then again, I'm gonna attach it to this outer corner. Like the brush is sweeping right underneath my iris, and then I'm dragging it up and over. It's doing all of the hard work for you in terms of mapping out your eye, I promise. Like when you look straight on at me, you can still see this very distinct line. You can blend that out as we move forward as much as you want. I tend to keep it a little bit harsh because it's kind of acting like a wing liner, eyeliner. Then you want to go back in with your secondary precision brush, which in this case was the BK Beauty Nikila Rose N13, that same dark color we just applied. And we want to literally fill this little kind of gap in that we now have. You can take this in as far as you want. It's whatever you are feeling today. And then after you lay that down, go back in with your Big Daddy blender, which is the A503 from BK Beauty and Angie Hot and Flashy. And just kind of marry everything together. Now we're gonna go in with the A504, the Angie Hot and Flashy kind of like pencil brush I was telling you guys about. This part is optional as well, but really what you wanna do, take your brush in a darker color. Because as always, smaller brush, darker color, bigger brush, lighter color. So for the lightest color, I did this. Second darkest, I did this. And the darkest I'm gonna use is right here. Sorry, my monitor's backwards. It takes me a second to catch up. So we're using this one. Just a darker shade. And you're gonna focus this right in this outer corner. Like where this touches, your upper lid and your lower lid, where they meet in the corner of your eye. You're just gonna kind of apply a little bit right there, and you can leave it, or if you're me, you'll kind of flick it up a little bit. Again, this is sort of acting like our eyeliner. If you're not good at eyeliner, if you don't have the patience for it, if you find that it's difficult to do on hooded eyes, because it is, because you have a lot of folds and skin to contend with, then doing this with your eyeshadow shape is kind of the easiest thing to do. You can sweep it in a little bit if you like. And if you look at me straight on, this took me all of 4 minutes. If I wasn't talking, I could have done it faster. you can see this lift and this kind of accentuation of the outer corner. And again, you can leave it just like this, or we can add more shadows. We can add more lines, harsher lines. It really is about your preference, but for every day, I tend to go for something closer to this. For the lid, I'm just gonna mix together these two more shimmery shades from Tom Ford. You can do whatever you want here. Like I said, if you're just trying to create some shape, you really don't have to worry about shimmer and glitter and all that stuff, but I love shimmer and glitter. I'm gonna do eyeliner. This is optional. My daughter hates eyeliner, and she really hates that I take my eyeliner all the way in to my inner corner, but that's usually because of my lashes. However, I have recently discovered some new lashes we'll talk about in a minute. All that being said, you gotta do what feels good to you in terms of eyeliner. I would suggest, much like my daughter would, that if you have eyes that are smaller, that you really want to open up, don't go too crazy right here in this inner corner. Because for me, if I do, that liner will take up the whole thing, essentially. So I have here the Stila Stay All Day dual-ended waterproof liquid eyeliner. What I like about this is dual-ended, as it says in the title. So you have a smaller one and a bigger one. I'm going to use the smaller one, looking down into my mirror. I do this to hide the lash band. Now, like I said, I have some new ones, but I will say the thicker your lash band, the more you have to really get this right and make sure that it's thick enough to hide the band. I'm like going right along my lash line. I'm basically just touching my lashes with this. While I do my mascara, we'll talk a little bit about lashes. Again, if you have big, beautiful, bossy lashes that do not need any help, then ignore this part, but I do not. My lashes are very short, and again, because I can't even get mascara on them without getting it all over my eyelid because my lashes are so short. It's really annoying. To open up your eyes, lashes are just one of the best ways to do it. And you know who I noticed does this a lot? Not all the time, but I've noticed she does it a lot, is Jennifer Lopez. Like, she'll have pretty chill makeup, at least to the naked eye, meaning it looks real neutral, real natural, we'll call it. But she will have big old lashes on. And if I had to guess, it's the same thing I'm talking about. They just open your eyes up in a way that really nothing else, in my opinion, does. But it can be difficult when you have hooded eyes to find the right lashes. So let's talk about my current favorites. This is not a current favorite. This is like a 5-year favorite. This is the Eylure Luxe Silk in the style Marquee. Couldn't find it anywhere. These are great. They're very thick, very dense, and the thing that I always want you guys to look for when you have hooded eyes, you look down in these, if you look at the tips, they curve up. If I get a lash that goes straight out, if I don't put them on a certain way, they will just get lost in my hoods. You won't see them, and they actually make me look way more squinty. So you can really see the way that these curl up, and that's what we want. We want something that already curls up, nothing straight. The Demi Wispies, the Ardell Wispies, those do not work on me at all. I try them all the time. They look like absolute crap on me because they're too straight. They don't have any curl to them whatsoever. Now, more recent developments for me, things I've been loving, are the Kiss Lashes, their Muses collection. They have a style called Legacy, and they have a style called Noblesse. Both of these are great for hooded eyes. Not only because they have that curvature I'm talking about, that I don't want to open these because these are brand new, but they do have the curl we're looking for. And in this case, as opposed to this case, I will warn you, these have a very thick band. I think these are better for like smoky eyes. If your whole eyelid is dark, this is a little bit better. Plus they're thicker, they're a little bit more dramatic. These are not the most natural in the world. They're natural for me personally. But anyway, outside of the fact that these curl on their own, they also have the thinnest band you've ever seen. In fact, they're really delicate for that, which is kind of the only downside. But when the band is thin, that just means you don't have to worry about making this eyeliner too thick, which means it's not going to take up your whole eye. It's going to keep it nice and open. I have a pair of each of these already cut and sized for my eye in my little container, so I'm just going to use those. So when you have your lashes I was trying to teach my daughter this the other day because she doesn't have eyes like I do. Hers are like big and beautiful and perfect, but her lashes, like mine, go straight down. So I keep telling her, girl, you got to get them up. You got to flip them. So do not come in like this. I want them up. Like, look at my wrist. It's not like this. It's like, I want it to go doop and it go boop. So just look at the difference already. God, these lashes are dope. Oh, they're so good. So already, you know, you might look at this and be like, okay, those lashes are too much, or now you can't see your mobile lid. Like, I've heard that a few times when I do these types of videos. People will make a comment that, well, the lashes covered up the lid. I don't care. I personally don't care. The lashes kind of become the point. It's the lower lash line, the outer corner, and the lashes that become the point of the eye looks that I do, because what's more important to me than like any one part of my eye being visible is, do my eyes look good? It's just a personal thing. It's like I said, I know people are trying to cancel eyeshadow, which, come on, y'all. You can't take everything from me. Please. You trying to bring back low-rise jeans and skinny brows? You want to take eyeshadow from me too? I can't do it. You can stop here, but if you want to go a little further, you can go back in with your smaller detail brush, your A504 from BK Beauty and Angie Hot and Flashy. You can get a little bit more of that dark color, tap it off, and just, again, how we did this earlier, we kind of placed it here in the corner and flicked it up. We're going to do that again. You can also, if you want, see how I'm doing the flick? That's creating essentially our eyeliner. And all we're doing is just kind of emphasizing a shape that we already did. I'm going to take the A502 from BK Beauty and Angie Hot and Flashy and just kind of run it underneath the shadow beneath my eye to kind of soften the edge of it where it connects to my concealer. Another tip is to take a nude or white eyeliner. It just depends on your skin tone and how apparent you want this to be. This is the Makeup Forever Artist Pencil in the color Boundless Bisque. I'm gonna put it in my waterline because sometimes that tightline eyeliner, for whatever reason, will kind of transfer into our waterline, and if you want to avoid that, this is a way to kind of brighten it back up. And the last thing I'm going to do is mascara. Lower lash mascara. Alright guys, that's all I have for you today. I hope you enjoyed the video. Again, thank you so much to BK Beauty for sponsoring today. Make sure you don't forget to check out the sale July 3rd through July 8th. Use code YT20 for 20% off. And hopefully I will catch you guys in the next one. Make sure you leave down below all of your favorite hooded eye tips and tricks. I would love to learn more, and I will catch you in the next one.